odd. According to all the readings, there's a human being up here somewhere. Oh, it was homing in on you. Well, near enough. Welcome to the Masked Fanatic. Pull up a coffin and make yourself comfortable while we talk about another great old mask of yesteryear. Yes, the yesterfears of yesteryear. Yeah, this week in the Masked Fanatic, look what I've dug up. It's this monstrosity, one of the true rarities of the mask world. It's a latex mask of Klaris. What? Klaris or Klaris, depending on who's saying it. K-L-A-R-I-S. The Mummy from the 1955 Universal comedy movie. Yes, I said comedy. This is The Mummy from Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, you see. And this particular one is from the original Bud Westmore mold. Not Bud Abbott, Bud Westmore. The guy who did The Mummy for the 1955 feature Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. Now, despite the fact that Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy was a comedy rather than a serious, scary horror movie like the earlier Mummy movies, and despite the fact that it's not even the most well-received of the Abbott and Costello horror comedies, because that would be hands down, no competition, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which was from 1948. Even though this is not the best received and most beloved of those movies, and even though it's a comedy, this Mummy was visually iconic and you know, visually powerful enough to catch on as far as what a mummy should look like. And a lot of toys and masks and collectibles over the years have been based largely on this mummy. And I think that's partly because he's got bandages around his face and head, sculpted in and molded in this case. He's got bandages right on him, whereas the classic mummies, Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, and Tom Tyler, had unwrapped heads and had their shriveled, ugly old mummy man heads exposed, which looked really cool and was a great makeup and is what a mummy might logically look like. But in people's minds, the mummy is a wrapped up, bandage-covered creature. So this kind of looks like everybody's concept of a mummy, just instantly. As soon as you give it any attention at all, as soon as you give it your rapt attention, see what I did there? I will edit that out. You understand that it's a mummy. And I will support that theory by pointing out, for example, some of the toys, like this mummy figure from Playco, which I think came out around 1991, I think? 1991, I believe, yeah. As you can see, clearly this particular toy was based on the Abbott and Costello mummy rather than the Lon Chaney, Tom Tyler, or Karloff mummies, because he has that bandaged head with the one bandage going across the middle of his face. Likewise, this paddle ball toy from Imperial Toys from 1990 something. 1990, yes, from 1990. This paddle ball mummy, can you see that? Obviously based on the Abbott and Costello mummy rather than any of the scarier mummies. However, interestingly, the artist here chose to hedge their bets a little bit by giving him one open eye and one closed eye in the manner of the more widely known Lon Chaney mummy. And by the way, the Lon Chaney and Tom Tyler mummy, both the same character played by two different actors, was Klaris, K-H-A-R-I-S. Klaris, no relation to Cloris Leachman, I believe. And he did not invent Clariseptic either. Klaris, the comedy mummy from the Abbott and Costello film, is a different character. He's a different mummy, so that's why he looks different, and his name has one different letter in it. It has the L in there, making it Klaris instead of Karis. You see? What a great mummy. And this is a pretty hard mask to find. I'm only aware of 3 of these in existence on the planet. There may be more. There may be more, because I wouldn't know, you see. I don't have like the bat computer that comes on and lights up and goes off and rings a bell every time somebody buys a mask. You might think that I do, but no. So if there are more of these in existence, I don't know it, but I'm only aware of maybe 3 of these. However, in 1993, another of my favorite mask artists, the great Tony Pitocco, came out with his version, a very limited, just a small number, collector edition artist mask of Klaris from Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. And as you can see, it's fantastically good, and it looks an awful lot like the original movie mold one, because Tony does stupendously high quality work. That's why it looks so much like the real deal. Now, how can you tell them apart? How can you tell which twin is the Tony? Well, you may notice Tony's version has one bandage wrapped across his nose, whereas this one from the Bud Westmore mold seems to have two bandages sort of crisscrossed like an X over his nose. And gee, that mummy has something covering his nose. How does he smell? Never mind, I'm not gonna go through with that. Not even on the Mask Fanatic, we're not even gonna go through with it. But what a great mask, and what a great concept for a mummy, both of them. Now, I believe in the movie, at least in some scenes, actual cloth strips were wrapped around this mask. And things were changed. I think sometimes it was maybe pieces. It's hard to tell. You don't get a lot of good looks at him in the movie. He doesn't move much. He doesn't get a lot of close-ups like some of the other monsters. But why do I believe this is indeed from the original mold? I believe that because when I look at the few good reference photos that exist, some of the specific shapes and contours and details are just exactly like this. So I think this is indeed what it's claiming to be all these years, which is an actual Bud Westmore. I don't know where you might ever find one of these, but if you live long enough, you eventually get everything you want, it is said. So maybe you'll find one. I don't know. I've had this one for years and years, and years and years and years. I may have paid too much for it. I don't know what they're worth. Let's do our comedy act. Klaris, hey, Klaris, I believe I may have paid too much when I bought that mummy mask. What do you think of that?
Gee, Dr. Lady,
Sounds like
Egypt you.
you get it? See, we're gonna
Egypt.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Yeah, we'll do that in our mummy stand-up act. What? You don't think we should open with it? Okay, you're probably right. Anyway, join us up here again next week in the attic for another monstrosity of years past, like me and the mummy.